Well, hello there folks. Hope you're all still in good form, hey? Now, the fella who farms this ground is in full lambing mode, and a couple of weeks ago, it was around Easter time actually, he phoned me and said he's seen a flock of about 30 hooded crows up here, and could I do something about it? So I went the next morning and believe it or not, I managed to get 10 with the rifle. But there was still quite a few crows about, so I decided to come up this morning and try and hit them again. Though this time I decided to set up in a different area. As I've found in the past, the more times you hit the crows in the same spot, the smarter they get. So I have my little pop-up hide set up just at the edge of a little wood, overlooking this bank at about 90 yards away, where I'm going to set out a dead rabbit for bait and a dead crow set up in a cradle as a decoy. The rifle that I've brought with me this morning is again my CZ527 Varmint, chambered in 17 Hornet, that I bedded into a formed stock. The scope is a Meopta 4-16x44 tactical, and the suppressor is a Wildcat Panther, and I'm using my own home loaded ammunition with a 20 grain Vmax bullet travelling at about 3,500 feet per second. I'm really starting to like this wee rifle for this sort of work, though the 25-inch barrel is a wee bit awkward to handle inside the hide, but you definitely can't argue with how well them little 17 caliber bullets takes out the hooded crows. Now it's not long before the first bird takes notice, and it doesn't sound too happy at that. But when it lands in a hollow where I can neither see it nor shoot it. That's when I realise there's a second bird actually sitting up in a tree just in front of me. Then the first bird flies over and lands in the lower branches right in front of me. But it didn't seem to like the hide and quickly retreated. Though the second bird was still there, it's probably only about 12 to 13 feet away from me. But it's in a tree and I'm using a centerfire rifle, so that's a definite no-no. Well, that didn't go to plan. Then, about half an hour or so later, one of the birds returned, but all it did was do a flyby and never landed on the ground. At some point during the morning, a group of magpies entered the trees, and they kicked up quite a racket, so they did. But I never managed to clamp eyes on one of them, and they never came near the bait. Then, after a while, I noticed a crow circle round before coming in to land. But it landed down in that hollow again, where I couldn't see enough of it to shoot it. Thankfully though, after a minute or two, it finally wandered up the bank far enough for me to get a shot at it. When I was setting up this morning, I didn't realise how much of a hollow there was in front of me. I gave it 10-15 minutes to see if any of the other birds would show up, but nothing appeared. So I decided to nip out and set the bird I just shot up as a decoy, hoping that a live looking bird would decoy better than a obvious dead bird. But no, I sat for about 2 hours and nothing appeared. So I decided to venture out again, but this time I set my decoy bird over the top of the bird I just shot to make it look as if they were fighting. To be honest, I didn't think it was going to work, as the birds obviously seemed to be a bit wiser now after the last time I hit them. But you have to try something, otherwise you're sitting here wasting your time. But, believe it or not, I was in the hide less than 3 minutes when a bird appeared from nowhere. I'm afraid the picture's not the best, but I was finding it difficult finding the crow with the camera. But thankfully, I did get it on film. I hadn't even the rifle reloaded when all of a sudden there was crows appearing from everywhere. Thankfully a few of them settled on the ground to the left. They were about 100 yards away. I was sort of hoping I might get a double here. But unfortunately not. Well, that's typical crow shooting for you. You sit for hours with absolutely nothing happening, only for 2 quick opportunities to appear out of nowhere. I waited a while again to see if the birds would come back again, but no, they had cleared off somewhere into the distance. So I went out and set the 2 birds I just shot up as decoys, hoping above all hope that I might draw them back in again. Plus, I took the opportunity to top up the magazine again. It's supposed to hold 5, but I find it operates a lot smoother with just 4 in it. Now, I'm sure I sat for the best part of 2 hours, with nothing happening, when this bird very quietly landed, and it dandered around out there for a minute or 2. But I hadn't noticed it because, yep, you guessed it, I had my nose stuck on my phone. But thankfully, I spotted it before it was too late and got the rifle onto it. I thought for a second I might have only nicked it, but thankfully 17 rarely takes prisoners, and when it went down, it stayed down. After that, I think I gave it another half an hour, and when nothing else appeared, I called it quits. Okay, let's see how we're done. Normally I would be quite happy with 4 hooded crows, but the last day I was here a few weeks ago I got 10 and a magpie. So I'm a little disappointed, but at the same time 4 crows isn't a bad number. Started off, of course, the dead rabbit split open for bait, and this bird here set up on the little wire cradle as usual. And I sat and I waited and I waited. I had the hide set up and that wee wood over there to help give me cover. And the birds actually landed in the tree just in front of me, but they couldn't have been much more than 12 feet in front of me in the lower branches. I'm pretty sure that they saw me this morning setting the hide up, so that was very slow. I sat for hours before I finally got a shot, and then nothing happened again, and I went out and set the bird up as a decoy. Nothing there. Sat for ages again, nothing happened, and all of a sudden 2 crows in a row, and then it went quiet again. You could hear the odd crow in the background, but nothing wanted to come over to me or to the decoys until about an hour ago this last one came down. It's quite a dark crow actually, and I managed to get it. Very dark crow. Looks to be 17 Hornet was sore in the wing. There's feathers laying everywhere. Sounded a wee bit different, a thud now, so might not have been as good a hit as the rest of them, but definitely accounted for. So I don't know if I'll be trying this wee spot again. It's a different place, about 500-600 yards away from I shot the 10 before, and I usually set up. Sometimes when you hit them too many times in the same spot, they wise up very quickly. So I decided to try and change somewhere different, but I'm not sure if this is a great place here. Might have to look somewhere else or try back to where I was. But the birds are definitely getting smarter, and that's what, 14 I've taken off the hill so far, but we'll maybe have to come back again. Anyway, I'm heading home for something to eat and a shower, because it's been a long morning. Cheer bye. I'll give the place a wee tidy up before I go. There's no silage cut up here, it's just sheep grazing ground, but I like leaving the place the way I found it. Goodness, that is a very dark coloured crow compared to the rest. Anyway, I'm sure the farmer and the ground nesting birds up here will be quite happy that there's another 4 crows taken off of the hill. It often surprises me how much birdsong you hear up here for such an open place with very few trees and no hedgerows. But anyway folks, I hope you enjoyed the video, and look after yourselves and take care, hey.